Hey guys, it's Azatak here. How you doing? No problems. So let's start off the game, shall we? With accents and so on. So my full name is Aaron James Simon Brower. As you can probably tell, I live in Australia, in the grand old capital of Canberra. Woo! Yeah, no. We'll start the ball off by pronouncing a few words. So we've got aunt, roof, route, or route, depending on how I decide to say it, theatre, iron, salmon, caramel, mayonnaise, pyjamas, court, naturally, aluminium, GIF, I think that one was supposed to be, tumbler, crackerjack, doorknob, envelope, polka dots or polka dots, depending on how I decide I want to pronounce it, if I'm lazy or not. Laugh out loud, because I do not say it the way other people say it. I only type it. Papaya, penthouse, beastly, subtext, and smile. So that's how I pronounce, those words anyway, lots of other words, but yeah. Okay, now, what would I describe the act of throwing toilet paper on a house? Well, I'll describe it as throwing toilet paper on a house. Although, I would normally call it TPing, but I'm being a smartass. Haha. So, a carbonated drink. Well, I normally refer to it as a soft drink, although sometimes I do say fizzy drink, depending, once again, how I feel about it. Next, I call gym shoes shoes. Shoes are shoes, okay? There's no point going into lots of different subcategories and whatnot. Shoes are shoes. That's it. My grandparents. Well, it depends. What would I call my grandparents depends on which grandparents we're talking about. If we're talking about my Dutch grandparents, who unfortunately both have passed away, I refer to them as Omar and Opa. That's what we call them. Then we've got my grandparents in Ireland, who I'm less than fond of. We'll just leave it at that. But I just refer to them as grandma as grandpa. The device on wheels we use for carrying our shopping around, we call that here a trolley. A lot of people say trolley. We don't really say shopping cart. The device to change the channel is our TV remote. Oh, right here. How I would address a group of people. It depends who I'm addressing. If I'm addressing, say, work colleagues, or I'm at a function, whatever, then I would, refer to them ladies and gentlemen. Or if I'm feeling, a little less formal, ladies and gents. If I'm referring to my friends, however, a favourite of mine is, oi, maggots! Because, they're my friends. I don't need to give them... No. My favourite colour, well, I don't really have a favourite colour, but if I had to decide, I would say blue. I've always liked blue, so, yeah. As you can see, no freckles whatsoever. I don't think I have freckles. I mean, none of my... Oh, wait, there's one right there in the middle. So I have one freckle at least. Let's see, my birthday, 9th of July, 1989. I'm 24. I'm old. And I've just noticed this little dot here. I don't know what the hell that... Oh, gone. No? Yes? Maybe? Perhaps. I don't know. Unless it's... No, that didn't work. Okay. What was the last thing I drank? Well, I'd have to say, if we're just going by, liquids, then orange juice. But if we went with alcohol, there's only one thing I drink, Jack Daniel's Original. I'm sorry, but it's the only thing I drink. It's the only thing I've ever drunk. Well, no, I've drunk others, but let's be frank, it tastes like piss. I don't think I have an accent, but honestly, who thinks that they have an accent unless they've been told over and over and over, you have an accent? People generally don't say I've got an accent, or they don't assume that I do, but, you know, that's up to you guys to say. I don't really speak in a second language, you know, apart from what I learnt in French class, you know, bonjour, je m'appelle Aaron. I used to know how to say my age too, but that was high school, long time ago. Let's see, would I rather $1 million or 1,000,000 friends? I think I'd have to say neither, actually. Because, well, I'm kind of introverted, so, you know, not really fond of having a lot of friends. And, I mean, if I earned that $1 million myself, yeah, definitely I prefer the $1 million. But if I could have one thing right now, yeah, I prefer to make my own money. It's a little bit odd, you know. That's why I'm not particularly fond of the lottery. Let's see, a taco or a quesadilla? Well, quesadillas, they're not really that popular here. In fact, the only place I've ever really seen them is on, you know, those TV ads where, you know, they're going like, hey, you should buy the magic bullet, so on and so forth. But if I had to pick, once again, tacos, you know. I like tacos, what can I say? I mean, I like mine plain, you know, just lettuce, mince, carrot, bit of cheese. That's about it, really. Elephant or shark? Well, look, let's be fair. Sharks are, you know, pretty, you know, awe-inspiring, you know. Some people find them a bit scary, but let's be frank. Outside the water, they're pussies. Alright, it's just pussies. So, I'd have to go with an elephant. At least an elephant can make a goddamn awesome splash in the water. And if I had to pick between a wizard and a vampire, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pick one there because Twilight ruined vampires for me. Sorry, but that's true. And as for wizards, well, I've never really looked at wizards as my sort of thing. I mean, I liked Harry Potter, yeah. But, I don't know, wizards are kind of poncy. Okay, to end off this video, I think I will read a passage from a book. I'm not going to mention the book. I'll see if someone can guess the book. I mean, I doubt you guys, well, some of you would have read it, but it's really for fans of the particular series. I'm not going to mention it, but, although some of you could guess. We'll start off. Henrik and Anar stared hard at the board. They were trying to keep it sheltered high up in the prow, where there was a little space just underneath the dragon's neck that decorated the front of the longship, away from the boatswain's prying eyes. If he knew they were playing with his second most precious piece of cargo, there'd be trouble. But there wasn't much else to do nearly a full moon's turn out from land. Once your rowing stint was over, and you talked about as many girls as you could mention in one breath, and the meat was turning green, and you could scarcely remember a world where the horizon didn't move up and down constantly, where your clothes weren't wet from dawn to dusk, and you ate the same dry bread, dry meat, and porridge oats every day like cattle. Henrik glanced over to the hens in cages along the side of the boat. They'd stopped laying. He frowned. That meant harsh weather was coming. Henrik cast his eyes back to the boat. The chess set had been packed up well. It was being taken to Iceland as part of the dowry gift, as the Duke of Trondheim prepared to marry his daughter to Gesar Polverdersen, to cement the bonds between their two lands. The Duke of Trondheim's daughter, Freydis, had long hair that looked like it was made out of spun gold. Gesar Polverdersen, as everyone knew throughout the world, was the fattest man anyone had ever seen, who dined exclusively on whale blubber and drank hot mead from the second he rolled from his cot in the morning. It had caused plenty of sniggering among the sailors. "Keep your eyes off those chooks," grunted Anar to Henrik. "We're not going to be eating roast hen for a long time, so don't think it." "Well, if they're not laying," said Henrik. Suddenly, the idea of a roast chicken, dripping with juices, roasted over a good fire, with the flatbread his mother used to make back on the farm, was the most wonderful thing he could think of. "Oh, I'd trade a kingdom for that," he said ruefully, looking down at his pieces. They were beautifully carved from walrus ivory, in the Trondheim style. Gissar, proud on his throne, his fat cheeks showing over his beard. Even though the carvings were small, they were still, Henrik thought, flattering. He had seen the king once. He was short. His belly bulged over his leather windings, and his face was covered in old pustules that he tended to fiddle with distractedly while giving orders. Henrik had been, on the whole, disappointed. It was the first king he had ever seen. He'd expected someone a bit more impressive. Beside him on the board, the carving was of the princess. Thetis, maid as queen-in-waiting, her hair curling down over the back of the throne, her expression proud and stern. They had been made over 4 moons by the finest bone worker in Trondheim. They were the most precious, beautiful objects Henrik had ever seen. He weighed the heavy pieces in his hands. Its cool beauty suggested luxury and leisure time. Henrik had never owned much more than his sheepskin and cord boots in his entire life. The idea of commissioning these for hundreds of crowns was amazing. He hoped they would be appreciated. "Check," said Anar. Henrik cursed. He had been so distracted by the pieces, he'd forgotten to concentrate on the game. He bent his head, but just as he did so, a sudden, terrible screaming rent the air. As the men leapt up, startled half out of their wits, hands already halfway to their swords, the beautiful board tipped over, the pieces rattling and scattering all over the deck. So that was a paragraph from that book. Hope you guys enjoyed that reading. And yeah, that's about it. So once again, hi guys. 12 minutes, that's a pretty long video. I don't expect you guys to go through all of it. But yeah, hope you guys find my accent kind of amusing. Bye.